Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel, to what essentially is a Carabao Cup preview to a game that very few of us will be able to actually watch. Charlie's banging, like, you're doing it right, you know? You're going to do a vlog tomorrow, and everybody's going to want to watch it because no one's going to be able to watch the flipping game. I'm fuming. There was something that said on Supersport 2 in Albania it's going to be broadcast, but then you check their schedule and it's not there, so who the flip knows if it's broadcast anywhere. But there is, of course, plenty of other things in terms of transfer news to discuss. Just 2 more days until, well, 3 more days actually until transfer deadline day. I'm not sure if everybody is aware, but deadline day this year is not August 31st. Deadline day is September 1st this year. I'm not sure if everyone knew that. But yeah, that is happening. So deadline day is Friday, not Thursday. Maybe some people thought it was Thursday. But yeah, of course, plenty to discuss. Lukaku has finally left. It's a day for celebration. It's only a loan, unfortunately, but we'll talk about that in more detail. Cucurella could be going to Man United on loan. What do we think about that? We'll talk about that as well, of course. Chelsea apparently demanding £50 million for Trevoh Chalobah, which sounds a bit baffling, but apparently he might be going to Bayern Munich on a permanent move. So let's see about that one as well. And what is happening with this mystery attacker Chelsea may or may not be signing? Could it be Ferran Torres? Who knows? Could it be bloody Rafinha? Who knows? Could it be Emile Smith-Rowe, who we've apparently been rejected for by Arsenal initially? A lot to discuss. Charlie, I'll start with you. First of all, thank you for coming back on. I appreciate it. Obviously, you're going to go to the game, but it's weird as hell, isn't it, that seemingly tomorrow's game is not going to be broadcast anywhere in the whole world. Like, that's just... And I just can't understand. Like, if none of the TV broadcasters are showing it, fair enough. If like you choose to show other games, like the app or showing like Doncaster against Everton. Not sure why they chose to show that over Chelsea, but fair enough. But then the part I don't get is why wouldn't Chelsea then be allowed to show it on their website? Because it just seems a bit like 2005 rather than 2023. Yeah, which you mean the game is not TV anywhere in the world?
I mean, it's a wider issue, isn't it? That in 2023, of all the money you spend on subscriptions, Sky, TNT, Amazon, whatever it is, or whatever part of the world you're in, if you're not UK or whatever stuff you paid to Zone or wherever you watch your football, that in 2023 you still cannot watch every game that your team plays. It's utter madness. It really is. It just shouldn't be a thing. So yeah, it's annoying. It's frustrating. I mean, to be honest, mate, I wouldn't normally bother with going to a game like this. I don't want to say that like obviously it's obviously a pleasure to be able to go to matches and stuff, and people would love to go. But do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't normally go to a game.
You're like pretty much every game, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't normally go to a game like this. I'd normally just watch it on the TV. But actually, I don't know where you're going to find it. And you can find some sort of dodgy stream, but it cuts out like every 5-10 minutes, and you got to find.
No, but genuinely, bro, apparently it's literally not shown anywhere. There might not even be a dodgy stream. The only streams we might get, I can't remember when it was exactly, but a few years ago, we also had a cup game that wasn't televised, and then there was some guy sat in the media box just like streaming it off his phone. So that was the stream that everyone watched. So I don't know if that was going to happen tomorrow.
But yeah, no, it is mad, mate. That in 2023, you can't watch every game your team plays. It's just ridiculous. It needs to change. It has to change.
Exactly, it should change. It's just weird. Like I say, like if none of the TV stations are showing it, fair enough, right? But then let Chelsea show it on their website like they do in pre-season. That's the part I don't get.
I mean, you can get radio commentary, but this doesn't really help.
Exactly. It's just strange to me. Pys, thank you for joining as well. I appreciate it very much. I know you've had a long day already, so I appreciate it even more. You didn't initially plan to go, but as everyone's struggling with potentially watching that game tomorrow, you've also decided to go. So lucky you boys. Unfortunate for me. But I guess in that sense, it's kind of a... You know, you're going to be one of around 40,000 people actually being able to see the game, which I know it doesn't sound that crazy, but when you deep that, there's only 40,000 people in the world that are going to be able to watch that game, and no one else is. It's kind of a good game to go to in that sense, even if it's just Wimbledon, no?
Yeah. I mean, it should be a decent game. I mean, we never know what sort of lineup we're going to get, but, you know, I think Poch has actually said, you know, after the Luton game, I forgot we played them for a minute. Yeah, the Luton game, he was like, we might see another strong lineup because we've not really got European competition, etc. this year. So I think actually quite a lot of our starters will play. Probably try and build on some confidence, you know. But we'll get to the lineup eventually. But yeah, I'm quite excited to go tomorrow. I think, you know, I like cup games where the other opposition, doesn't have anything to lose, it usually means that their fans are going to be really up for it. And it's, sometimes it's quite a surprisingly decent game. Having said that, though, I still want to batter them 6-0. So,
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. But I'd like to see, a few goals going tomorrow. Let's really, create a lot, take our chances, and go from there and beat Bournemouth on the weekend. It is Bournemouth we've got, right? Or is it
Forest, right?
Forest, mate.
Forest,
And
and
then
then
Forest,
Bournemouth after the break.
So, with how Forest played against United, I know they lost. That could be quite a difficult game. So, yeah.
It's true. It's very, very true. It's going to be interesting tomorrow anyway, because obviously on the one hand, you'd think second round of the Carabao Cup, which I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but we're only playing this because of how low we finished down in the Premier League table last year. I'm not sure what the cutoff point is, like what position you need to finish to only enter from round 3. I'm not sure. But usually we obviously start from round 3. But round 2 this time round, and you'd think, oh yeah, great chance to give some youngsters a chance, players that will barely play usually. The problem is we barely have a fit and available squad. So it's going to be a lot of the usuals with a few sporadic, like, your Ian Maatsen, maybe a Mason Burstow. We'll talk about that later, obviously. Maybe Bashir Humphreys. But otherwise, how many different players are going to play? I genuinely don't know. Ugochukwu, hopefully. Otherwise, I genuinely don't know. Will there be any others from the academy? Potentially Moreira, obviously one of the signings of the summer that no one really talked about much because he's been mostly with the under-21 so far. We'll get to that a little bit later. But I want to start with the best news we thankfully got in a hot minute, because Romelu Lukaku, the cretin himself, has finally left us once again. Thank God. Thank the Lord. And it's actually made even better, and I'll bring that up on a separate tweet from Matt Law. He also took a wage cut, not only for this season, but for the whole remaining 3 years of his Chelsea contract, which on the one, I almost want to give him credit for, but, I won't. But yeah, I'm buzzing that he's gone. Jose Mourinho coming out to save our bacon once again. Love that. But yeah, they're covering, all of the wages that are remaining, and they're giving us, what was it, Pys? I mean, here it says over 5 million euros, but what is the loan fee in the end? Like 7 million pounds or whatever it is?
Yeah, so I don't think it's fully revealed yet, but I think Ben Jacobs and someone else said it was like 8 million. So, yeah, I think, with loan fees, it's always difficult. I guess only the club really know, but yeah, I would say it's like 7-8 million, which I think is really good, to be fair. Like, for a loan fee, I think that's quite a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I think last year from Inter, we got like 8 million euros. So it's like similar to that, I guess. Still less than what he costs us on a yearly basis with amortization, because obviously he signed a 5-year contract when we signed him for 97.5 million. So still more than he costs us, even though he's not here. But it's better than nothing, I suppose. I feel a bit bad for Tammy Abraham. Now, obviously, Tammy Abraham is still recovering from his torn ACL, and I'm not 100% sure when he'll be back. But checking on transfer market, and he didn't say the exact date when he got injured, but he's been out for like over 220 days already. So I assume at some point during this season, he will come back, and then he will have Lukaku sat in front of him, which I do feel a bit bad about. But as I already said on Twitter, Tammy, you have all the permission in the world to bully Romelu Lukaku as much as you possibly can and want. From me, at least. Charlie, hey, obviously none of us really expected Lukaku to ever be here anymore this season, but it was still, because it dragged on so long, and obviously we rejected the initial offer from Inter, which, what was it, like 25 million euros over several installments. And then obviously he messed it up with Inter, wanted to go to Juve, but they wanted ridiculous money for Vlahovic plus Lukaku, and only then would they have taken Lukaku, only if we took Vlahovic off them. So it took a while, and I did get a little bit concerned. What's going to happen? Is he going to have to end up staying? What are we going to do with him? But thankfully, we found a way out. Like I said, Jose Mourinho saving our bacon once again. But pleased that we found a way out? Or are you still a bit like, we kind of set it in stone almost, like back in May or June, that we weren't going to loan him? We were only going to do a permanent deal, and now here we are back to loans. Or did we just have to do what we have to do and better be glad that it's a loan than he's stuck with us?
Well, we tried to find a permanent solution for him, but there were literally zero takers. He didn't want Saudi, burnt bridges with Inter Milan, and the only way the Juventus deal was going to happen was if we accepted the Vlahovic deal, which we didn't want anyway. And in all honesty, it wasn't a great deal for us either, with the amount of money Juve were demanding plus the player. So yeah. I guess, yes, the intentions were there to get a permanent transfer, and we tried everything we could to try and get that transfer done. But with time running out, things change. And, a loan option was I don't think it was ever off the table. It was probably the the best of a worst case scenario. I think we found ourselves, and I always thought, with Lukaku's situation not resolved heading into the last week of the transfer window, that teams are going to wait and wait and wait, and then see if Chelsea's stance changes. And that's exactly what happens. Roma need forward players. Abraham's injured. Yes, they brought in Asmoon from Leverkusen. Yes, they've got Belotti up front. Not exactly prolific or whatever. So look, in all fairness, the mad thing is that, obviously after everything Lukaku's done, we actually want him to do well here, because it means that his value will be preserved or could potentially increase, and it increases our chance of getting a permanent deal for him. So in a strange sort of way, we do actually need him to do well, because otherwise we're going to be in the same situation next summer, and we ideally need a permanent taker for him. So, but I also saw, isn't there a £37 million release clause written into the contract now for next summer? So actually, we'd like it. He needs to do well, so someone activates that. But in terms of the deal itself, yes, we would have loved it to have been a permanent deal. But given how the market panned out and given how few options there were, I actually think this is a pretty good piece of business that we've managed to do, given the fact he's dropped his wages for the remainder of his contract, and we've got a £37 million release clause written in there as well. I think this is the best case scenario from a difficult situation.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Pies, obviously, we brought it up now, £37 million release clause, dropping the wages. That's the part that I care about a lot more, dropping the wages, because obviously for this season, and actually, I will hold my hands up, last season, he also took a wage cut, and while I was of the impression that we covered the rest of his wages, but actually I don't think that was the case. I think Inter covered his old wages, but he took a wage cut. So fair play. But still great that even if we are for some crazy reason stuck with him next year, he has a wage cut at least. The release clause, though, I'm not sure if I give it that much value, because do I honestly think someone will pay £37 million for him next year? No, because the Inter's highest offer was £25 million. That's barely over £20 million, right? That's nearly double that. That's like Charlie said, obviously we hope in that sense that he has a good season at Roma and increases his value. But do I really see that happening, especially with the way Jose play football? They don't exactly score that many goals as a team in the first place. So, how many is he going to get, and how much higher is his transfer value going to get? I personally don't really see that release clause being met next year. But I guess it's better to be there than not being there. Or how do you see it, Pies? And also the same question I asked Charlie in terms of, are you upset that in the end we had to go away from almost the promise we made ourselves of we would only accept a permanent deal? Or how do you see that one?
I mean, I'm happy we got a decent fee in the loan. I mean, eventually this guy will go, but, much better doing this than having this guy at Cobham, eating up our wages. I think we've done very well to get him to drop the wages, and, the release clause is good. I could see him doing strangely well there, because I think he does well on transition, a lot of transition play. And,
good point.
Mourinho obviously is obviously known for a bit of counter-attacking football at times. So I haven't watched too much of Roma, but, yeah, I mean, him, Dybala, it could work, could be something there. But yeah, it's just weird. Like, they've got Tammy. They signed Asmoon, I think, from the Bundesliga. So it's like, how many strikers do they need? But
they've got Belotti as well, don't they? Or was he only on loan?
I think they do. So yeah, it's like kind of mad.
Yeah,
it doesn't really make, when I look at it, it doesn't really make much sense. But
I think they play two strikers quite often, but still, even then, it's a bit strange, because I don't know. I mean, Dybala will probably be injured for some part of the season again, you'd expect. But I think usually he's one of the two strikers rather than playing as a 10. I'm not 100% sure like you. Even though I've tuned into Roma every now and again, it's mostly been like highlights, and then they don't show you the formation, do they? So there you go. But yeah, with the release clause, someone in the chat said, yeah, maybe next year he'll go to Saudi Arabia. Obviously, Lukaku is already 30. So depending on how... interesting. Depending on how obviously his season goes, then being 31, if he doesn't have a good season, maybe it's also him that accepts, maybe my time in Europe has come to an end now and I need to just take one of these huge Saudi offers. If they're still on the table next year, who knows? We'll have to obviously wait and see. But I guess that's enough Lukaku talk. As the chat has been talking about it in a couple of messages here in the chat already, I guess we'll talk about Trevoh Chalobah, because that is actually a fairly interesting one, because it seems like Bayern Munich were very, very much about getting Trevoh Chalobah from Chelsea. In particular, good old Mr. Thomas Tuchel. By the way, happy birthday, Thomas. It's his birthday today. So happy 50th birthday, a big one. But yeah, shout out to him. Oh, what did Pies tweet? All right, I will get Pies' tweet ready in a second as well. But yeah, Trevoh Chalobah. This was obviously from Fabrizio earlier. There's been a few other bits and bobs reported out of Germany, from Nizak and Zeller, from Fabrizio as well. But now, someone in the chat said Chalobah might be off. To Bayern might be off because Bayern are after Eric Dyer. Is that a thing, Pies? Have you seen that as well already, or is that just Ashraf?
They do want Eric Dyer, weirdly enough. Yeah,
but could he be their six? Could be.
Yeah, he might play DM. I don't know. I think Chalobah was the. I think Fabrizio said last night, if Pavard goes, then it means they've decided on a defender. So, and obviously with this coming out today, this was last night, but or in midnight, but there's been a lot of talk about Chalobah today. So, yeah, I think something will either get done tonight or tomorrow morning with this. It seems like things.
We're not going to get 50. We're not going to get the 50 mil we want.
I don't know why Nizar said that. That's crazy.
We're not going to get 50.
30 at most.
Yeah. I still think it would be a loan with an option. I don't see a permanent transfer on this one.
I don't. The thing is though, I know. Yeah, I actually agree with you because I know we're not supposedly doing that, but Chalobah's not going to play. So why don't we just?
But is he going to play at Bayern?
He's got more chance of playing there.
Yeah, more than
chance. I agree.
Because
he's not guaranteed to start there.
No, he's not. But he's basically going to take Pavard's place in the squad. So,
and apparently Tuchel's already spoke to him as well. So
you reckon it's going to be directly for Pavard, because Pavard was used at right back a lot.
Chalobah's played right back quite a bit as well.
But still,
right back, centre back. It'll be right back cover, centre back cover, and he could have been number 6 cover as well. I think he will play, and at the end of the day, unfortunately, as well as he's done at Chelsea when he's played, unfortunately, all the other defenders we've got on our books are better than him. He's just
that's questionable, Mr. Disasi.
Well, I mean, look, 2 games in, it's a bit difficult to judge, but look, everyone else is better than him. He's just not going to play. If he's got aspirations to get in the England squad at the Euros, if he wants to go and play and develop his career, that unfortunately is not going to happen at Chelsea.
Is Nat Samps right now? This is definitely wrong. You have I think 7 or 8, not 3.
There's 7 overseas. It's 3 max to the same club.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, fair play. Is it 3 to the same club? I thought you weren't even allowed.
Yeah, because you can get 3 to Strasbourg. That's the whole thing. You can get 3.
Yeah, fair play. No, fair enough. I think we have 1 left actually.
Yeah, because it was 2, and then Lukaku's taken 1 of them, so we've got 1 left now. So obviously that means that Ugochukwu, unless he gets a domestic loan, is going to stay.
But Ugochukwu should stay anyway.
He should stay anyway. Washington to Strasbourg now. If Chalobah goes on a loan, that means that Washington to Strasbourg won't happen.
Which is why I disagree with you. I think we will stay quite firm on this, because I don't think, because of Reece being injured so much. Yes, you have Malo Gusto, of course, but Malo Gusto, let's say Reece James is injured for, not now, but another injury, and he's out for 3 months. Malo Gusto can't play every game in those 3 months. Then you still need someone to be your right back. So for that, you could still use Chalobah if we were being adamant about it has to be a permanent move, right?
What we're going to say though,
are we really going to take that last loan spot away?
Disasi, I know you might not be the biggest fan of Disasi, but Disasi has played right back as well.
That's true. It's a fair point. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, fuck that, honestly. Fuck that.
Have you seen him at centre back? No, about right back.
I've seen him.
He has played right back. Is the point?
Why there is like that? I mean.
But Ben Chilwell has played left winger, and I still don't want to see him.
Colwell's basically been playing left back at times this season.
Anyway, I don't like that either.
I hate that. I hate seeing Colwell at left back.
And I don't like it either. But I mean, excuse me, Pies, I'm not sure. I think you might have said it already. Do you agree with Charlie that might end up being a loan? I really hope that we stand firm on that, because I think we've kind of obviously we've had a crazy window in terms of when you look at the outgoings we've had, the incomings we've had. Obviously, some of the incomings have been record transfers, right? But I still think on certain things we've kind of let ourselves get pushed around a bit more than I personally like. I know Caicedo was important, and because we let so many of the other midfielders go already, we kind of had to do what we had to do, and I get that. But we still went to 115 million in total, right? When we could have probably had him for 90 if we just bid in July, or maybe 95, whatever it may be, right? At least 100. And I don't want to be here again now where we're telling Bayern, no, it's only a permanent deal or loan with obligation or nothing. And then we agreed to it again. I'm like, because we've already, in my opinion, come across like a bit of a pushover in terms of negotiations. This transfer window, clubs demand money from us. We end up paying up. Obviously, a few occasions that's a bit different in terms of Manuel Ugarte. There's been a few others as well where we just pulled out. I guess the Elise stuff, but that had a few different reasons. But still, I really think it's important that we stay firm on this. I don't know how you see it, Pys.
I mean, yeah, but like it also depends to the player, in my opinion, because like if Chalobah's like, no, I absolutely like, I want to play like so badly, you know, I've got Euro aspirations.
But then Chalobah convinced Bayern to buy you. You know, it's not our problem.
Yeah, but like, what happens if they use that as leverage on us and be like, well, look how much desperate he wants to leave, and then
I think we should stand firm. I get where you're coming from, but I think we need to have a point is now to stand
firm. Would you take? Sorry, mate. Obviously, Inter paid like 30 million euro plus add-ons for Pavard, right? Yeah. Would you accept then that same 30 million euros that Inter paid Bayern? Would you accept that from them for Chalobah? Do you think around 25 million quid's fair? Because I think that's massively undervaluing him, because he's 24 years old, he's versatile, and he's got 6 years left on his, 5 definite years, could be 6 years, option for another year. So it's 5 years on the contract, versatile, and 24 years of age.
And I think he's better than Pavard.
He's worth, I'm not saying I'm going to get it, but he's definitely worth more than 25-30 million pounds, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think if you're getting 30 to 35 in pounds, then it's all right.
About 40 million euros we're looking at.
Yeah, 35, 40 million euros. I'd be okay with
that though. I just buying.
I agree. I don't see us getting it.
They're stingy club at the best of times. Like now they've bought Kane. They're probably on like
apparently.
Yeah, they do, don't they? Like they get like the one big sign. Like they got De Ligt last summer, and then they were.
I remember a few years ago when they bought Xavi Martinez from Athletic Bilbao for 80 million euros, when that was like one of the craziest, like highest transfer fees ever.
And they signed Lucas Fernandez with big money as well.
Yeah, he was like 80 odd million as well. It's crazy. They do like one crazy move a year.
No, but they did also spend quite a lot of money on Kim Min-jae this summer as well.
True. He was like 50 in euros, 50 million.
Yeah, maybe a few. I don't know, but yeah, I don't see them personally going much more than 35 million euros for him.
But I'd still rather they give us a permanent offer of 35 million than send him on loan.
No, I hear that. I mean, if there's an obligation at the end, I wouldn't be against that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, Pletico said they also want a number 4 or 6, whatever you want to call it, that can play DM and I mean, theoretically, so can Chalobah, but obviously Dyer is a bit more used to the centre back.
It's so funny, man.
Sorry?
Tuchel's ID is a bit weird, isn't it? Talent ID.
It's a bit weird. It's he just wants all our players. There was also a rumour that they contacted us for Gallagher. How many more attacking midfielders that you don't play do you want? Like, you have Thomas Müller sat on the bench every game. What do you mean you want Conor Gallagher? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, hey. If it's an obligation to buy, I'm perfectly fine with that. Obviously.
I mean, but Bayern have got like a lot of options they're looking at to try and cover this Pavard slot in the squad. It's not just Chalobah. Obviously, Eric Dyer has been mentioned. I'm sure there's quite a few others as well, but yeah, we'll wait and see. But for me, from Chalobah's perspective in his career, it makes no sense for him to stay at Chelsea.
No, I agree, and it would make sense but let's make sure we get a decent fee for him, and let's not use it. Especially, let's not use another international loan. Is at least my standpoint on it, but I understand that obviously everyone has a slightly different perspective on these things. But I do just find it interesting how Tuchel it seems to be like, yeah, let me get all the ex-Chelsea players. Like, how many ex-Chelsea players did he seem to be interested in? Obviously, he wanted Kepa, he wanted Chalobah, now apparently Gallagher as well. Bit weird. But hey, you do you, Thomas. Go on.
I just say good. Sometimes it helps clubs out when managers do that. Think how much Ajax and like them, help out by Ten Hag. Like, it's crazy.
It's very, very true. It's very, very true. I guess we will get into the conversation about your new tweet, I guess, and that leads us into talking about a few other players as well before we get into Cucurella. We'll talk about him last. You tweeted out through Fabrizio, obviously, via his podcast. I think this will be the biggest surprise of the window in the final days. The owners and the directors were together today at Cobham to decide the right player. They're discussing many players and are trying to be secret about it. Pys, I'll start with you. Where do you stand on this whole attacker situation? Because I think Goldberg put out like a whole 12-minute clip about his fears in terms of the attacking signing. And I didn't listen to all of it, but I listened to like the first 6-7 minutes of it. And I kind of agree with most of what he said. And it's really frustrating to me because, and I could just keep going back to it, Michael Olise for £35 million would have been the perfect signing for what we still lacked and needed, in my opinion. Like literally could not have been more ideal. The fee, the value, the league, knowing the league already, being young, so fitting the rest of our, system of players that we're trying to buy, literally perfect. But everybody else we're linked to, I'm very I find them all a bit anticlimactic. I can't even lie. Like Emile Smith-Rowe, we'll talk about him. Kudus, obviously, I would have been a fan of that, but apparently we either tried too late or it's a fake report and we just didn't try. Who knows? But he's off to West Ham. Who of the others we were linked to? Obviously, Ferran Torres, Rafinha, we'll talk about those.
There's been something on Marcus Edwards as well. Not British press, but Portuguese press, like Record and somewhere else saying that we're going to activate his 60 million euro release.
It was a misreporting.
Was that misreporting? Was it? Fair. But Chelsea have looked at Edwards, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He's I really like him, man. He's so good. He's dribbling insane. I really like him. Every time I've watched him, he's so good. But
really,
too much.
I really don't know much about him. Obviously, me not being English, I've probably followed that kind of play a little bit less than you guys would. But
he didn't play. He was only in the academy. Did he play for the Spurs first team, Pys? I don't remember him.
No, I don't think so. No, but he was there when Poch was there. Like, there's a picture of him and Poch like hugging and stuff like that. So
okay. But what I've seen, fans' reaction on Twitter, they didn't exactly seem particularly gassed about it. Like I say, I don't know that much about him, so I think
he played 50 games last season. And he got 12 goals and 7 assists.
It's pretty good, to be fair. I don't know where Sporting finished. I think maybe third, potentially second. I think Benfica won the league.
Yeah, they did.
Was it Porto actually that won the league?
No, Benfica did. I think Benfica did last season.
Yeah. Regardless, doesn't sound bad from those numbers, and we know that the Portuguese league tends to translate quite well into the Prem. But still, again, I'll go to you, Pys. What do you expect to happen at this point, especially with this Fabrizio tweet? Because I think all of us fans were kind of in a slightly different side of this discussion now, where we were all a little bit more scared, or like almost gotten to a point where we're like, should we maybe just not sign anyone rather than sign some of these randomers we're linked with? Because my problem is now, obviously, to some extent, you need someone on the wing, but not if we play our current system, actually. So, like, if we switch to a permanent 4-2-3-1, then we need a winger. If you see Sterling as a permanent right winger, then you need a left winger. If you see Sterling as a left winger, then you need a right winger, right? We need a winger. But when we have everyone fit and Poch plays what he plays right now, then we don't actually need anyone. So then you're like, is it even worth buying someone? And I replied this to your tweet yesterday. A few people flamed me for it, but I replied this to your tweet where I'm like, well, if that's the situation, we should have just never sent Hudson-Odoi to the under-21s, because rather than buying some shit random guy who's never going to succeed here long term anyway, you might as well have just kept Callum for another year or even until January. But because you've banned him essentially from the first team for the last 3 months, well, he's obviously not going to want to now. So now we have to buy someone. And now we just have to hope and pray it's going to be someone good. But where do you stand on it, Pys? Especially after this now? Because this, if anything, makes it sound like we're going to sign someone else big. Or do you think it's going to be someone so bad that's going to be the surprise?
Well, I don't think we'll sign any bad, terrible players under this recruitment team. But what we might sign is someone like a Smith-Rowe who's talented but is always injured and hasn't played for a while. Or we might sign someone that needs to adapt and that sort of thing. And the thing is I honestly I know our old ownership did this, but I truly don't believe this ownership will spend money if they really don't think it's necessary. The fact that we've heard this right wing and number 10, we want someone who can play both positions and can play up front, but is not an actual striker. This doesn't, as you said, this doesn't make sense if we're going to keep playing this three at the back. So if we're going to, we're buying someone clearly. So clearly, in my opinion, we'll start to play, the form more. That's just how I see it. But it's really interesting. We had the links to Brennan Johnson. It's not going to be him, thankfully. It doesn't look like it's going to be Shirky. It's not Elise. It's not Kudus. It's probably not Edwards, because Matt Law said nothing came of it. Yeah. yeah, has been linked to Smith-Rowe, but then Fabrizio keeps saying, well, they want to keep it secret. Well, Smith-Rowe is not a secret. So, like, we're either going to go really big, which I don't think is going to happen because
But who
we
would
spent,
even be really big? Like maybe
like,
Florian Wirtz,
yeah,
potentially?
I was just going to say I would love Wirtz, but then
I hope it's not Wirtz.
real, I think he's a baller, but
I mean,
anyone
I
that
agree.
says-
I think he's a baller.
Anyone
but
that
he's
says
literally
João
just
Felix
the new
and
Havertz.
Ousmane Dembele are their idols is a bit suspect for me.
Well, don't, for your sake, Charlie, don't ask every Chelsea player who their idols was. I mean, Chilwell said like the best Premier League player ever is Eric Cantona, so make of that what
bro,
you
don't get me started on Felix. I would new slide if we got Felix back. But,
I want a video.
no, like
knee slide in concrete.
the thing is like I don't see it being anyone massive because like this guy is kind of like the placeholder almost for Nkunku. So it's like if we sign someone huge, just like, well, what the hell do we do when Nkunku comes back? We just
unless it's a winger, because we do need winger depth.
What? So
But
do you
then they
think
keep going on about he needs to be able to play number 10, and it's like,
So
well,
do you reckon?
like this
Do
player
you
is going to
reckon
be
then
so hard
it's
to
like
find.
it should be someone that is good enough to come in to start right now, but then when Nkunku's back, there'll be a rotation option.
Yeah, but who is that? Does that even
Yeah,
exist?
but like that's not an inspiring signing, is it?
No,
Like,
it's
that's
not
what
an
I mean.
inspiring
Like,
signing. But this is the thing, though. I think that's the sort of thing we're looking at. But
yeah, I
mean,
don't think there would be this much like I don't know. It's almost like I know what Fab's like. He's almost like trying to build this up, and I feel like I don't know. Like I don't think it will be someone massive, but like
thing is,
why?
I
Man,
thought.
like
I mean,
surprise, like biggest surprise of the window.
Could it
like,
be Hazard?
no.
No, because that's just.
But
it's
it
just not who
would
they
be a
signed.
big surprise.
Well, but if
It
it
would
was
be.
Hazard, we could have done it already. We could have done it ages ago.
Yeah,
and also
that's true.
he's like not fit at all.
Well, fits
like
perfectly
he'd need like 6 months of Poch training to be fit enough to play anyway.
I don't know why, but I've just had like, it doesn't really fit what we're looking to do in terms of what Poch just said in terms of Premier League experience, can play across the front line and all that. But I don't know. I've just got a feeling. I've just a bit of a hunch that maybe we might look to do something with Jonathan Deivid. I've seen that Lille were looking at signing Braithwaite from Espanyol. I don't know if that's as a replacement or as competition or whatever it might be. But I don't know.
But Charlie, he's not a like you got to remember they've been banging on about someone being this guy coming in needs to be a creator. Like
but we need.
He's not a creator.
In my opinion, we need goals more than we need creativity.
Yeah, but that's not what like
realistically
what
what we need is Alphonso Davies because we play left backs on the wing. So that's exactly who we need.
I tell you the best signing we could make, which is never going to happen. But my dream signing would be Griezmann. Honestly, I think that'd be unreal.
Mate, hasn't he got some sort of like quite low release clause in his contract?
He doesn't want to leave though. Like Fab said the other day, he's like he's like so settled in Madrid. But that would
he's had enough now of trying to leave and it failing. I think he's just want to
like,
stay.
he literally fits everything we want.
He's such a
fits
baller.
Everything we want. Like he's not a proper striker, but he's played on the wing. He's played 10. He's played everywhere. Like he played in right centre mid.
Other than that, he's way too old for our signings. But
but you know what's mad? Like you could ask like. Even us three here, we've got no idea. You could ask like 20, 30 Chelsea fans and you probably get 10, 15 different names. Like
honestly, like Charlie, I mean, you say that. I don't even have a name for you. Like all I can say is I wish we got Olise. And yeah, I'd like Cherki by what I've heard about him. But if the manager doesn't want that, then well, what am I going to do? I'd probably prefer like Felix, even Hazard to these names here. Because
if we wanted Cherki though, right? Surely we could have just done this earlier in the window because Leon surely wouldn't want to do a sale in the last 3 days.
No one does, right? No one does do a sale now.
I mean,
obviously earlier in the window, Nkunku wasn't injured.
Yeah,
I guess.
But out of those three, right? I actually think Ferran Torres, out of those three, there is the best fit. Premier League experience, can play 9, can play 10, and can play wide. For me, I think that out of those three, that probably fits the best what we're looking for. But
he's such a Morata, man. He's like such a wood candy player. I don't know. He just.
I mean, Morata is balling for Atletico at the moment. I tell you.
I mean,
double yesterday.
I mean, I do like Rafinha. I know he turned us down last summer. They're probably not going to. I mean, Barca are always going to sell if the price is right, like any team. But he doesn't. I think he's great, but he needs some sort of kind of really good finisher to get on the end of what he does.
You know the thing is as well with if we buy a right-sided player, do we then move Sterling away from where he's performing? Like because he's playing on the right wing. Like,
we keep Sterling down. We keep playing Chilwell at left wing, obviously.
But in either case, we only actually have like 3 wingers, really.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
and obviously, if
if you include Moreira, I guess it's 4. But yeah.
Yeah, but like if Sterling's playing on the right and he keeps performing there, then we need a bloody left winger instead. Like,
yeah, exactly. Especially if Poch isn't really picking Mudryk anyway. So I guess you have that open. I mean, I know we're not linked to him, but in terms of talking about the fitting what we need to can play across the front three and everything, Angelo would actually fit that really, really well. Did you see the goal he scored a Super Cup against Bayern? Absolutely outrageous.
Mate, he's such a baller. Pep's a massive fan of him as well. I'm not saying that's like the barometer.
Isn't he a massive purple patch player though? Like, I've always
I don't know. He to me seems like a modern David Silva, and I don't mean that in disrespect to David Silva. David Silva is obviously far, far superior, but in terms of a player that's technically super gifted, but probably lacks that tiny edge of pace to ever be a superstar. And I know some people consider David Silva a superstar, but people do that in hindsight while he was playing.
Just a bit of random news. Batshuayi is joining Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Yeah. In talks with Fenerbahce. Yeah. Fenerbahce.
Oh, yeah, because he joined Fenerbahce permanently last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
What a mess.
Thank God he's not going to play in time on Saturday because he probably score.
I might score an own goal. He loves us, mate.
Mate, do you know on Smith-Rowe though? By the way, like, I know he's not like amazing, but I can see why we might have inquired or approached for him, because it does tick the boxes what we're looking for in terms of age, versatility, Premier League experience, and it fits in line with what Poch just said. I'm not saying he's like the answer or anything, but I can sort of see why we've gone for while we've looked at someone like him. I mean, part of me, just for the banter, would love us to get him, and then he balls for us, and we can just banter Arsenal. But I don't see that
seem right, does it? Like, it's weird because I
not really a fit, is it?
I looked at his injury record, right? Because obviously a lot of people have been talking about how bad it is, and it's kind of like it's kind of weird because like he had like 8 injuries in the 18-19 season, then didn't have any injuries for 2 seasons, had one small one in 2021 or something, and then had obviously that big one last year, which obviously kept him out for ages, and he basically hasn't played since. So. Because Arsenal fans were gassing him before like his injury, right? Like he's got that number 10 and everything.
He wasn't a good patch of form. Like maybe not last season, the season before, was it? Yeah,
exactly. No, it was the season before. I think they finished 5th and he scored like 10 goals or whatever it was.
Yeah, he did really well.
Yeah, exactly. Or did they even finish 5th? I thought they finished 8th back to back, but whatever. I don't know, man. Like someone said, why give Arsenal the Havertz money back? Don't do it. But as you can see below this tweet here, Arsenal are not keen on selling. Sources have indicated that Chelsea have a willingness to include players as a potential sweetener. Well, which players could that be? Because, I mean, I would have said maybe Cucurella, but he's now going to Man United.
Hudson-Odoi?
Fuck that.
I mean, but do they want Hudson-Odoi, though? Let's be honest.
I can't see that guy playing for Arsenal. That would break my heart, honestly.
He wouldn't play, though. Now, let's be honest. He can't even play for Leverkusen.
Malang Sarr?
I mean,
to replace the injured Timber.
I rate it. Send them Malang Sarr. Now, but do I really want Emile Smith-Rowe? No, because these are exactly the types of signings that will just cause issues. It will always be like some fans will be like, "Yeah, but he's talented." Like he screams divisive fan base from day one because some will hate him because he's Arsenal, like Aubameyang. Some will hate him because he's Arsenal from the get-go, and some will give him way too much a chance because they're overcompensating for how much the others are hating on him. Like that's literally what happens. So it's like, do I want that? I don't know. I mean, Pys, do you want Smith-Rowe?
Not really. I like him. I think he's good. I was that performance that he had. I was there when we lost. Was it 4-2 to Arsenal or something at home? That game we under Tuchel. Malang Sarr played.
Yeah,
did we lose
mate.
4-2?
Honestly.
Yeah, we did lose 4-2.
Mate,
it's a disgrace.
He honestly, Smith-Rowe absolutely battered us that game. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Honestly, I'm not even saying this because we're linked with him. I genuinely, at the time, I don't know if I tweeted anything, but he was so good that day. But he's so injury prone. I just don't see the point. Like, and Arsenal would demand like at least 50 million, like at least.
I mean, they've initially rejected us. They don't really want to sell to a rival. Yeah. And honestly, this is another one. Like, Omari Hutchinson is out on loan at Ipswich. I think Ipswich did they get promoted to the Championship? Or
they're in the Championship, yeah.
So it's like, why make that deal so early? Now we sit here. We could have just had Amari Hutchinson at least until January, until injuries are back, and you could have filled the position. But no, we decided to let everyone go early except the big ones, and then those we had to let go. And now we're in this situation. When I was crying about this in July, everyone was saying I was a crybaby. Well, see, there you are. Because I'm not happy. I don't want Smith-Rowe. Now, I do see what Charlie's saying. Ferran Torres, in terms of profile, fits what we're looking for. It's true. But would he be cheap? I feel like, Barcelona still owe City like millions for that transfer. So maybe they want to sell him so they can give City some money back. But
plus, maybe if they sell him, it means they can get Joao Felix, who's twerking for Barca. So who knows?
But then Pies will be crying because he wants Felix here. I'll be honest, I'd rather Felix than Ferran Torres. I won't even lie. Like, on a loan, that's cheap. Not permanently, obviously. But and Rafinha, my issue with Rafinha is that he seems very like, he needs to be wide. I don't think he seems to be a player that's operates in the middle so much. So that, from that point of view, doesn't really fit what we want, I guess.
Yeah.
And Ansu Fati, mate. Ansu Fati
like 4 years ago. Injury-prone winger. Like, he's not really kicked on. So, if you want an injury-prone player that hasn't
he's more injury-prone than bloody Reece James is.
All the players who've been linked to are like permanent hospital patients, bro. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. And the other wingers we have are as well. Madueke is a permanent hospital patient, and Mudryk.
You know what it is though, right? We'll sign someone with we'll sign someone with 2 injuries on transfer market. Then they'll do their ACL in the first game.
Do you know what happened as well, right? I haven't got onto it yet. We'll sanction this Cucurella loan, and then Chilwell will get injured.
Oh my god, that would be the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Can you imagine that? Oh my god!
I wouldn't even. I'm still not speaking it into existence.
You just did, bro. You're at fault now. It's your fault.
No, but it's the sort of thing with our luck you could see happening.
No,
it's true.
That's true.
I don't even disagree. I like his name, so
you have to then go sign some random left back in January.
Well, exactly.
Or bring back Lewis Hall, which we can't.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's a weird one. I honestly don't know where I sit on this at this point. I mean, I can bring the Michael Edwards bit up as well, just to, I don't know, for completion rate sake. Checks on Michael Edwards a few weeks ago, but nothing transpired. Matt Law also said interest could be revived in Rafinha. At this point, obviously Fabrizio keeps saying that we want to be secret about it. So that does still also, in a way, make me think, does anyone even know? Well, some of them, like a Fabrizio, probably or definitely knows, but they're not saying it publicly, right? But if that's what they're trying to do, can we even consider any of the players we've been linked to as real, right? Because if that's what Chelsea are trying so hard to do, and Fabrizio isn't even saying a word despite him potentially knowing something, then I'm like, can you take Smith-Rowe seriously? Can you take...
I was going to say, do we think the Smith-Rowe thing is legit? And Sammy Mokbel's pretty decent, but as far as I've seen...
It seems like a transfer that we would make.
It does. Has anyone else reported it, though? Has anyone else said anything about it other than Sammy Mokbel? Because I'm not saying it's not true, but
obviously he's an ITK, so...
But yeah, no one has really covered it. I mean, look, I could definitely see us doing it. It's the sort of thing we would do for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Pies, do you think it's going to be someone that we haven't even been linked with yet? Or what do you think happens from now on out?
Yeah. I think there'll be some like random exclusive that comes out and then we'll know who it is. I don't think it will be someone like, I think it could have been Smith-Rowe, but I don't think it will be now. Like, I feel like because they knocked back our initial approach, like I just see that report as believable. Like, I just, with the, like, we done some business already with Arsenal. Like, he seems like the player he's fits into, what we're trying to do. He's played on the left before as well. So plays like he is actually a number 10 as well. So I feel like he's the sort of player that could be targeted, but I don't think it will be him. Like, I'll be surprised if we spend a lot of money on him.
Well, you say that.
40, I think 40 to 50 million tops.
I don't even think they would accept that though. Like,
I think that's the budget we've got though, around 40 or 50 million pounds.
Yeah. But that's my problem with it, right? Because I'm like, okay, so when injuries are back, you will have, well, we don't know about the wings because so that's why I'm like, to me, we need to sign a winger that can play 10 rather than a 10 that can play wing. Because in the wing, if you're going to play devil's advocate and say, okay, well, Mudryk hasn't really been favoured by any 3 managers so far, then you're like, okay, maybe that is up in the air and we're more talking him bigger than he ends up being for us. Who knows, right? But then there is, I guess, that spot is more available. Let's say Sterling has the right-hand side locked down. Then I guess you are looking for someone that competes with Mudryk for the left. Because once Nkunku is back, once Chukwuemeka is back, you don't need a 10. Like, what happens to Chukwuemeka, who's just started to all of a sudden look great?
Plays as an 8?
Well, yeah, but you don't have an 8 and a 10 in the same team, do you?
No, not really.
So it's like one or the other. So to me, it's like, don't sign someone that can't. That's why I would fancy Olise so much.
What, a wing that plays 10
and play in the middle when necessary.
Yeah,
and that to me would have been ideal. Sorry, Charlie, you were trying to say
something. Well, basically someone that is basically a wide man but can play 10 rather than the other way around.
Yeah, that's what I think would make more sense. I'm not sure if everybody else agrees with that, but just because right now, of course, I understand we need a 10 more than the others. Although I say that, we keep playing Ben Chilwell on the left wing. So in my opinion, we do still need a winger more than anything else, arguably. But I don't know. It's a tough one. And we still have a few days left in the transfer window. Let's see what happens. I guess it's a pure guessing.
It could be some absolute random, or this could just be all a massive game of double bluff, and it could be an obvious person.
Could be as well. It could be. It's really, really difficult to judge. But I guess we get into the last transfer news
end of these windows.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the end of these windows. It's always something happening with us.
Literally. I mean, hey, we haven't had our Zakaria and Saul moment yet, so it's probably going to be one of those.
Can't be ruled out.
No,
I said honestly, Alonso for this Chilwell role would be banging, mate. Honestly,
mate, it would be
already.
It would be. I can't even lie. I don't like Alonso as a player, but even I can't disagree with that. But yeah, we got the Ornstein dagger today by saying that Manchester United have bid for Marc Cucurella on loan. It turns out it was an offer of £2 million, which is a bit ridiculous. And we've told them, absolutely go do one. We apparently want like 7 million odd. But yeah, this looks like it's happening more and more because according to Fabrizio Romano, Cucurella has now also agreed personal terms with Manchester United. So before we talk about the details of the deal, shall we have like a more general discussion? I'll start with you, Charlie. What would you make of this deal? Because to me, it's no. You know what? I'll let you go first because I'm not sure what I think.
Firstly, right? How mad is it, right? If I'd said to you boys or anyone at the start of this window that Cucurella and Mount would be teammates, but they'd both be at Man United, we'd have been like, nah, absolutely zero chance of that happening. But that is looking like exactly what's going to happen. I mean, I'm a little bit unsure where I stand on this one. It's really tricky. Look, obviously, this is Chelsea have clearly been trying to shift Cucurella this window. There's not really any permanent takers at an acceptable deal. There weren't really any loan takers either. You know, Newcastle had sniffed. There maybe a couple of Atletico Madrid. There was murmurings as well, but there weren't really any takers. And it's taken a Luke Shaw injury for something to materialize. So that's maybe the bit of luck and the breakthrough we needed. But what I would say is that obviously we're letting him go, which means that obviously Maatsen therefore is going to be the backup left back, but Maatsen is out of contract at the end of this season and so far hasn't committed himself to fresh terms yet to extend this stay at the club.
I guess letting Cucurella go could convince Maatsen.
Yeah, it could convince him, sure, but we need to know that he's going to extend before the end of this window. Otherwise, we're going to lose him for free. Now, I'm not saying he's maybe the type of person to do that, but that is a legitimate thing that could happen. If he doesn't extend soon, he could leave for free. So there's that to take into account. I'm probably a bit more lenient on Cucurella than most are. I actually think he's a good player. I think he did very well at Brighton. Did we overpay for him? Absolutely. Did he have some good games for us? Yes. Did he struggle? Yes. But you know, if it was down to the fans, we would have sold Sterling this summer as well because he was shit in the first season. Now he's our best player and everyone loves him. So I think you just need to be a little bit more. I personally feel he should have had another season. But at the same time, if he's going to go to Man United, play Champions League football, play regularly until Luke Shaw's back, that's going to be better for his career, I suppose, than barely featuring for Chelsea at all. He's not played a single minute yet. It's just a weird one. It's just a really strange one because I actually think there's a decent player in Cucurella, but it's clear that Poch doesn't really rate him or fancy him, and it's clear that the way the club are looking at it is this signing was a mistake. Is essentially what they're saying. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. Learning into Man United, and people say, oh, we're helping a rival out. Oh, we're not because he's shit. Well, we kind of are helping them out because we're giving them someone that they need to solve an issue. But again, I get it. He's not going to play for Chelsea. Then fair enough, go and play somewhere else. I don't know, mate. On this, it's a weird one. Like on the one hand, it should be like, oh, it doesn't really matter because he's not in the plans and he's not played. But on the other hand, I don't want anyone that's backing this move and is delighted that he's going to then moan if Chilwell gets injured and we've got to play Maatsen at left back and he's not quite up to it. I don't want anyone complaining that's wanted this Cucurella deal to go through because we know that Chilwell's injury prone. Yes, we've not got an awful lot of games this season, fine. But Maatsen is not, I don't know if Poch sees Maatsen as a left back. He's not played him as left back once in pre-season. If we're playing this left wing situation with Chilwell, then Maatsen is a much better fit for that than Cucurella is, sure. But he's not played Maatsen as a left back. So is Maatsen then going to be the backup left back, or is Colwell going to be a backup left back and someone else?
Or is Colwell going to be the first choice left back?
well, exactly. So there's a lot of things that need shuffling around here. I mean, if we can get £7 million, I think a deal will probably end up being done at 5 or 6. I don't think it's terrible. Will there be a buy option? Who knows? Maybe Cucurella needs it to restart his career again, get it back on track. But mate, it's for me. I think this is a strange one. I can't really get my head around it.
No,
I don't really know what I don't know what I think, which is kind of weird.
I'm actually in very much almost the same boat as you because the way the system, and I know Pys and a lot of other people will say, well, we're not going to play the system long term, and I hope I pray to God that you are right.
But we could do.
But we could, and I mean, we've done it 3 games in a row now. So what's telling me that we won't? I don't know. At least until Nkunku is back. Maybe when Nkunku is back, that could change. And who knows when he's going to be back? Some people are talking about November. Some people are talking about January. God knows when, right? But right now, in the current system, Cucurella as arguably the backup to Colwell in that type of left back is actually perfect because left centre back in a back 3 type vibe, but actually more of a bit of a left back. That's exactly Cucurella's perfect position. I know Cucurella has his issues without question, right? I sit with Charlie though in a sense that I'm like, everyone deserves a second season. I thought that for Koulibaly. As much as I was critical of him last year, I thought that of Raheem Sterling, and I also think that of Cucurella. But the problem I have is I also understand why we need to do it, right? Because you're like, well, he has fairly big wages. If you want to convince Maatsen of staying, this is probably one way of convincing him, I guess, by saying, okay, we're happy to let Cucurella go because we're banking on you. But at the same time, it's like Cucurella isn't going to stay at Man United because is he going to be better than Luke Shaw? I doubt it. And I don't know exactly what injury Luke Shaw even has, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I don't know how long Luke Shaw will be out for. But, once Luke Shaw is back, I expect him to probably play ahead of Cucurella again because doesn't Ten Hag, at least on one side, on the left side, play quite attacking fullbacks, which at least, I mean, I know at Brighton, Cucurella seemed to be able to do that, but at Chelsea, most certainly wasn't. So I'm like, is he likely to feature over Luke Shaw there? No. So most likely, Cucurella will probably come back next summer, and then you're in the same situation, except that at least now he has agreed personal terms. Now we're kind of past that stage already.
This will happen.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like you say, because he's agreed personal terms now, it's going to happen. But I don't know. It's just, if Maatsen had signed a new contract or if Lewis Hall was still here, fine.
Yeah.
But because Maatsen hasn't extended yet and Lewis Hall isn't here anymore, this could come back to bite us in the arse. And people say, oh, yeah, but owners know what they're doing. Yeah, but if they did, we wouldn't be here in this situation with Cucurella right now. Do you know what I mean? So, Pys, me and Charlie have kind of given a similar perspective to each other. I know you're going to provide a different one now, which I'm glad about. So what's your perspective on this? And why do you think do you think we just need to get it done and you're happy if it gets done?
I think the only weird thing that doesn't quite sit right with me is I'm almost sure they don't end up buying him. So it's well, he's been at Man United for a season.
Not even almost sure. I'm 100% sure.
Well, I don't know if I'm 100%, but I'm pretty sure they won't buy him. And it's well, he's going to come back and coming from Man U to Chelsea. For me, I wouldn't want him playing for us anymore. If he did that, so I don't know whether we just sell him next summer anyway to like Spain or somewhere. I'm not sure, but in terms of like right now, I think, to be honest, I don't think he improves them at all. I think he's terrible defensively, and he's going to play in a back four, left back. He can't attack. We've seen he gets brain freeze when he goes forward. He's good technically, but I don't know. I don't think he improves them that much. I think they could get someone that would improve them a lot. But
isn't that the problem in and of itself, though, right, Pies? Because the only way this loan move makes sense to us is if he does well for them, because then he increases his value.
Yeah, but can he really get any lower than right now, being third choice below an academy player after being bought for 60 million? Like,
yeah,
he kind of already is that.
I know we had the discussion or argument, whatever you want to call it, in the group chat already. But like Charlie said, who has told us that Maatsen is ahead of Cucurella at left back? Because Maatsen hasn't played.
Clearly, they would have debated it internally. Like, this is not something that just they don't think about or talk about. It's
but who knows if either of them are relevant? Because maybe it's just Colwell and Chilwell, and Maatsen is considered as an attacker.
I still wouldn't rule Maatsen out leaving. I really wouldn't.
Even if Cucurella leaves, I'm ruling that out.
I think personally, from what I know as well, is like Chelsea didn't expect anyone to get Cucurella, like anyone to come in with like a serious offer or even like a serious loan bid. So like they almost made Poch work with Cucurella at left back. So I think long term, like Maatsen will be included in the left back positions. Like I think him being on the wing was more like, oh, Cucurella is 100% staying. So, you know, and obviously squad politics does come into play. Like you can't really, I don't know, like it's just what it is, isn't it? Like you have to work with the £60 million signings to try and make him better, you know, rather than.
But if you're not going to play the £60 million signing anyway, it doesn't make a difference. You might as well play.
Yeah, but I think he would have though. Like he would have. If Cucurella stayed, then I think Maatsen would have been sold. Is what I think would have happened.
But now, obviously, the question mark is still: does Maatsen sign a new contract? Like, do you think selling or loaning Cucurella will help that?
What happens if Cucurella? Sorry, mate. What happens if Cucurella? Let's just hypothesize it. What happens if he has a worldy season at United and we look at it and we think, right, we want this guy?
Well, he definitely doesn't want to be back here now after the loan. Let's be honest.
We wouldn't though. Like we would look at that as profit, or not profit, but like sale. You know.
So do we think then that Cucurella has played his last game for Chelsea?
Yeah.
Do we reckon?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Texas Blue, I think, makes a somewhat valid point here. So what was he doing in his last season at Brighton then? Was that the outlier? Or was the outlier last year for Chelsea when we had our worst season in 30 years?
He was shit in pre-season as well. Let's be honest. Like
I disagree. I think he had one bad moment.
He was shit. I think he was
shit. So what we're saying is then that this...
He's not... I said that, by the way, I said this. He's not a Poch type fullback at all.
Do we think though, right? If he's gone to City, right, under Pep...
Unless he's used like Colwell.
Would he have been cooking at City?
Of course he would.
Yeah,
but City fullbacks though, like they don't like they attack, but they don't like
So like, exactly like Colwell for us right now.
But Cucurella could do exactly City, it's that. Like no, but at City it's like keeping possession more than going forward more than anything.
No, so that's what I'm saying. Because Colwell, according to Poch, is our left back right now, isn't he? So
we disagree on this though. Like I don't think this three at the back thing will be long term.
So what's essentially happened here is that all the business
we've done at the back though.
So the business we did last summer that all of us were propaganda gassed about and thought was great has actually turned out to be shit because Aubameyang's gone, Koulibaly's been sold, and now Cucurella's going.
And this is what we have. This is what we have to do. We have to be ruthless, and we have to hope that better decisions are made in the recruitment department in the future, which I think they will be, because there's always a risk. As much as I love Tuchel, there's always a risk with managers with targets.
Yeah, for sure. But that's about 100 million quid spent nearly. That's fucked off after one season.
Yeah, but we also could have bought. But we also could have bought Osimhen for 150 mil and him not be any better than £30 million Nicolas Jackson. So
yeah, absolutely.
There's two ways of looking at it. Like, we've done really well as well. Like
we have. Plus that was last window anyway. That was last summer, so it's different. But yeah, it's mad, isn't it? How these things
last
work
summer
out.
feels like 10 moons ago, honestly. Like
it does, and it also it's weird how it's kind of turned out that last summer's business was actually, on reflection, quite shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's. I mean, look at all the players we bought though. Most of them were like proven signings, and most of the proven signings, like they're the ones that end up being shit for us.
Yeah.
So that's that's not really a new trend, really.
No, it's not at all, which is why it's annoying when people go, oh, we need to sign more proven players, more experience. Well, look at the track record when we've done that. They've actually been shit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to find the passing map of our game against Luton, but I saw it a couple of days ago on Twitter, but I can't find it anymore because that was quite clear how it is kind of a back four more than a back three, but hey, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a tough one. At the end of the day, it's going to happen now. I really fear, what if he's good for them and he makes them better and helps United get top four over us?
Well, there's that, and then there's
I know that's unlikely.
Well,
yeah, I agree, but still, it's unlikely. But if that happens, we will be so annoyed. I'm like, do I want to risk that annoyance? You know, like, yeah, I know. Again, it's unlikely, but it could happen. And if it does happen, I'll be really annoyed. And I like to avoid things that even potentially could annoy me. But at the end of the day,
what do we do with him then? Do we just keep him here and not play him, or what?
No, it's
of course that's the problem.
Yeah,
I know, bro. I know.
There's not really an ideal solution to any of it.
No, exactly. That is literally the problem. I mean, just to bring it up to finish that Cucurella stuff, from a different report from The Athletic, which I found a bit interesting considering David Ornstein broke the initial report. Laurie Whitehall, not Whitehall, said Chelsea have proposed to Manchester United.
Yeah, he's a Man United guy.
Yeah, a £7 million loan fee for Cucurella. Negotiation is required. Man United have other options. But since then, Fabrizio Romano have essentially said, well, also what you've seen in the thing I've had up already with the personal terms. But for now, they're not going to talk to anybody else. For me, if we get £5 million, I guess take it. Because if he's agreed personal terms, Poch isn't going to use him, then it makes sense. But only, and we will never know that until, it's too late, I guess, only if we know Maatsen will sign a new contract. Because if he doesn't, then we should sell Maatsen and keep Cucurella, in my opinion. Because if Maatsen is going to leave for free next year, then we need to sell him right now. But if he's going to sign a new contract, well, then, then I'm happy with that, if that makes sense. But yeah, I guess that's kind of all of the transfer news and talk that we have to discuss so far. There is quite a funny one, which I guess we can bring up quickly. I know you tweeted it, Pies, but did Fabrizio post that himself as well, or was it on like a video or whatever?
It was on his podcast. It's quite funny, man.
Okay. Bring it up. What is that?
This is when the transfer windows, like this, when it's your job. Like, it's crazy. It's gone too far.
It's getting to him. He said 3 days ago it happened to me when I was sleeping 3-4 hours, and I started to dream that I was missing some news on Chelsea. So I woke up during the night and I thought I was missing news. It was a blonde player who was going to Chelsea. I don't remember anything else. Or it's a hint and saying we're signing Smith-Rowe. Do you know what I mean? Could be that. But yeah, it is a bit all over the shop. You did tweet another thing from Fabrizio, where he said Todd, Boehly and Nick Barley, Laurenz Stewart and Paul Winstanley and Cho shares as well. We're all together all today at Cobham discussing the attacking signing. At the moment, I can't share too much. They're exploring really many opportunities. I'm not sure if I like that.
This is what I worry about as well, by the way. When he says opportunities, that's like a player that another club doesn't want, like what Man U have just done with us with Cucurella. Like, that's an opportunity, Cucurella.
I don't know if it's going to be a big move.
That just stinks of like a Ferran Torres or someone like that, that's not really playing, but is at a big club. It just opportunities. I don't like that word because it's literally what United are doing with us right now, and it's never someone that. I mean, sometimes it turns out great. Like, I mean, Kovacic was an opportunity. I think he did pretty well, but. We
only signed him because of the transfer ban. Because if we're being honest, this loan was shit.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? But I agree exactly with that, Pite. What you've just touched on, and also that was what Goldberg was on about in his clip that he uploaded. Because, like, when all the other players we signed, even including trying to sign Olise, we had a plan and a reason for why we wanted that player. And right now, it doesn't look like whoever we're still going to sign, we have like a reason to sign this player. It's just like there's an opportunity to sign that player, so we're going for it. And I just think I think it's dreadful squad planning that we are in this situation right now. I know it was caused by injuries, but they're idiots after the last season that happened if they're not like planning for what happens if we get an injury. that's also bad squad planning to me because, like I touched on, we had so many players in these positions. You could have just kept one of those 15,000 players for another 6 months or another year. That's all we needed to do. And pretty much all of them, other than maybe Ziyech, are probably going to be better than whoever we're going to buy now. So, even Hudson-Odoi, I know he had an awful loan at Leverkusen. I'm very aware of that. But he's an option only until Chukwuemeka is back from injury anyway. You could have just used that. To me, it's poor squad planning. But again, people will say, oh, don't be so harsh on the owners and directors because we sucked them off for everything. But yeah, hey, is what it is. Yeah. What did Kushal say here in the chat? Did Kuku ever say he's not happy with the mid-part role? Well, he didn't need to say it. He agreed personal terms with Man United. I think that explained that is your answer to that question, really. But yeah, let's talk about Wimbledon tomorrow, even if I'm potentially not even going to be able to see any of the game, which is fun. Usually we do I would like to see our team. But tomorrow, I think it's interesting. It's more interesting let's try the predicted 11. Because it's going to be bloody hard, that will be. Now, the one thing we know is that it's going to be Robert Sanchez in goal again because Dondia Petrovic's work permit has not come through yet. So he is not going to be able to play. So it will be Sanchez in goal. But what about the rest of the team? And the first and most important question, arguably, Charlie, do you think we're going to play a 4-2-3-1 or do you think we're going to play the same system we played in the last 3 games?
I did this earlier and I went with a 4-3-3. But that's not really that helpful to this scenario.
Well, 4-3-3, 4-3-1 doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's fine.
same kind of thing, really. I would like to see the 4-3-3, but I think
if we did predict it, do you think he will do the same as the last 3 games?
Probably, yeah. Why would he change it?
But I would agree with that until the Cucurella news now, because with Cucurella, I thought he would just play Cucurella instead of Colwell and Maatsen instead of Chilwell.
Yeah.
But now I assume Cucurella will not.
I don't think Cucurella plays now.
Exactly. So then who plays instead of Colwell, or does Colwell just keep playing? I guess he can.
Well, I mean, what I think possibly. I mean, I think Gusto's going to play right back. We know that.
Is this what we want? Are we doing predict?
No. This time we're doing what we think Poch will do.
I think Gusto will play right back.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. But I still don't know about the formation. That's more of my issue. I mean, Pies. I guess, Charlie, so you think he will do what he did the last 3 games, more likely?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay. Pies, do you think he's going to do what he did the last 3 games in terms of system?
No, I think he'll go over 4 at the back just because Chilwell won't play. I don't know. But yeah, also because it's the cup, I feel like maybe...
And it's League 2 as well. We can
maybe obviously, I mean, it's not a complicated system he's using, but I don't know. Yeah,
but it is for the left winger who's a left back. For them,
yeah, I'd say 4 at the back, especially because, like you said, I mean, who else plays left back? I'm not sure if I think it, but I think Maatsen just plays for Chilwell, but on the wing because we don't have any wingers.
No.
We don't know if Mudryk is able to start.
Mudryk
came off the bench once, wasn't even used last game. So can he start? I doubt it, personally.
Well, in my lineup that I'm posting soon, I've gone with Maatsen at left back. So
okay, yeah. Well, I guess we can.
There's a few options. What you could have is Maatsen at left back, or you could have Colwell at left back, and you play Disasi and Bashir Humphreys at centre half.
Yeah, no, of course, that's exactly what you could do. My only concern is, do you have enough fit players if you in the forward areas if you play Maatsen at left back? So guys, I'll have to almost ask ahead then. Who do you think play, or who do you think plays in the front? Because again, this is not your team. I'm asking what you think Poch will play.
What I think Poch will play.
Yeah.
If it's this, I think honestly, I feel
also formation. What do you think Poch will play?
I think he'll play a 4 at the back. I think he's going to go pretty strong. I mean, I think Sterling will start again. I think Jackson will start.
Okay.
I think.
Well, I guess if you're looking at it that way, then fair enough. Okay.
I also think Madueke will play. Definitely.
Okay. No, well, let's keep the forward foot in a bit then. I was just thinking, if you're going to do like Madueke and Moreira, for example, on the wing, I'm like, well, do we know if Madueke can start? And then I'm like, well, then Maatsen has to be on the wing. Then who do you play left back? That's kind of where I was coming from.
No, I have Sterling on the wing, so I think if Sterling doesn't start, then yeah, it's a bit of an issue. But I think he will.
Could play Moreira.
But like who would play on the left though? Because him and Madueke are both right-sided players. So
that is its own issue. I think still Maatsen. I personally, just me, but hey, if you two outvote me, that's absolutely fine. I think Maatsen will play on the wing tomorrow. But
if Poch knows, like if it's Cucurella's done right and he's not in the squad, then I guess it could be a time to play Maatsen at left back. I know it's League Two, but like
we need to find out, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, for that we need to look into Poch's brain if he ever wants to play a normal left back all season, which we don't know. If he ever wants to consider even doing that, I don't know. But okay, I mean, Charlie, are you okay with putting Maatsen left back?
Yeah. I wouldn't have an issue with it. I think the other option is obviously play Colwell left back and put Maatsen further up. But yeah, I'd play Maatsen, and then centre halves for me, I'd go Colwell and Bashir Humphreys.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Humphreys has to start this game.
Is it like that, Humphreys?
Yeah.
Would you agree, Pice, with those two? If Maatsen's at left back, or would you play Disasi?
Yeah, this is my predicted or the lineup that I think I would go for in terms of the five there. So yeah.
I'm still like, if maybe because I just don't. I'm just so adamant that this will not be what Poch does tomorrow. I almost want to turn it around again and say, okay, let's do what we want, because I would be happy with this if it was my pick. But I just don't think Poch will do it.
This is what I want, by the way. This is what I want, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know. But I was asking you, what do you think Poch will do, and you still said this.
Well, I think there's a possibility this happens.
Mate, if he plays three at the back against Wimbledon in the cup, he's got issues. Like, he's worse than Tuchel.
But he has issues. He was a Spurs manager. Come on.
I want you, Laurenz. I want you to say he's worse than Tuchel if he does this, because I mean, I know Tuchel did it, but like, come on.
I think we can definitely agree that Ugochukwu is going to play in midfield.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, I mean, I bloody hope so. If he doesn't, I'm even more fuming. I mean, Pice, do you want it as a 4-2-3-1 or as a 4-3-3?
Huh?
Do you want it as a 4-2-3-1 or as a 4-3-3? Because I don't really even know what's possible.
Well, they're kind of the same thing, aren't they, really? But yeah, my number 10 comes back into a midfield anyway, so yeah.
Because who else is available? Because we really, like Caicedo, didn't play against... Well, no, he didn't start against West Ham. Came on, was awful. Then he started last week. Is he now just going to keep starting?
I have Caicedo starting next to.
So did I. I had a three of Caicedo and Gallagher ahead of Ugochukwu.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised with last season as well if Enzo just played. Like, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, and if it's Enzo and Gallagher rather than Caicedo, I think that's personally more likely, just because of having had a proper preseason. I think.
Do we think there's any chance? I'm not saying he would start. Do we reckon? I know he Poch said a few weeks, but do you reckon there's any chance Lavia's involved in the squad?
Nah, he would have said something in the press conference.
I wish he was asked exactly this question, because to me,
it seems like
it's ridiculous. Like, you know, even if we pretend like, okay, he didn't have a preseason, we have to pretend like he starts preseason now. Even if you have preseason, you have preseason games.
This would be the equivalent of a preseason game.
It's just worse. Like, we're playing a League Two team here. Like,
yeah,
that's like we played Brighton and Dortmund in preseason. Why shouldn't Lavia play this? I think, like, if we're doing our team now, I'm putting Lavia in. I don't care what Poch says, because this is a preseason game. Fair enough, don't play him in the Prem, but this is the exact game where you need to play him. How is he ever going to get fit enough, in Poch's opinion, without playing? Because none of the others got fit without playing. They all need the games. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Charlie, are you backing me on putting Lavia in instead of Caicedo? Are you backing me?
Well, if it was me personally,
we've changed now to what we want.
Well, I probably would play Lavia, but he's not going to play.
No, he's not. He's not. But at least, hey, if it's you and me, we're going to put him on screen, just to, make it adamant that I think is still ridiculous that he needs a few weeks. What the fuck? He's 19. How is he not fit? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, fair enough. Let's do this, because I feel like, do we really want to throw Caicedo in again? Like, Lavia needs a few weeks, but Caicedo can play every second from the get-go.
To be fair, if he wasn't a British record signing, it might be a bit different. But you can't sign someone for that money and then say he needs a few weeks. You've got to chuck him straight in.
I don't know. If a 19-year-old costs 60 million, who can do it with him, then you can do it with a British record transfer fee in my books. But
Poch only said he said 4 or 5 players, young players, will be in the squad. Like, he didn't say starting. Like,
no, I think
that in itself said to me, like, when I first saw that quote, I was like, "Wow, bloody hell, it's going to be a
really those players, I think, are Moreira.
Yeah.
There's that Bergstrom, the keeper, and there's a couple of others that aren't involved.
Maybe. I mean, I think
Gilchrist is a fair point, or Gilchrist, however you pronounce his name.
Yeah. He won't start.
No, he won't start, but he will be involved. And there was maybe another couple of... Burstow will definitely be involved. I agree with Pies, though, that I think Jackson will start, because otherwise I don't think he would have taken Jackson off as the first sub last game.
I actually think Burstow starts this game. I would have started Burstow, but I can see Jackson get more minutes, get him confidence in the...
That's what I think. Confidence, like after he's got a goal. That's why I have him and Sterling, because I just think
because we had. I mean, it was a similar thing when we played Barnsley a few years ago in the cup.
Yeah,
Havertz got a hat trick.
Scored a hat trick. Yeah.
Something similar like that for Jackson would be good. I mean, I put Humphreys in, Burstow in my team, but look, there's credit for Jackson as well. The one thing that
it's so annoying. Like Broja could have been perfect. Like, honestly,
Washington's not ready to play.
He apparently doesn't have a visa yet either, work permit, so that's why he can't play, unfortunately.
Same with Petrovic. By the way, Petrovic is wearing number 28. Yeah. He asked for number 99, but it's not allowed in the Premier League.
Is it?
No, it's not.
That's so funny.
It wasn't allowed.
He wanted 99. Like,
because a lot of strikers do that actually. When obviously they all want the 9, and if the 9 isn't available or 99. Then they ask for the 99 instead.
99. That looks so cool on a kit.
Yeah, 99 is a decent number. Or it will be double cast. Also possible.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Yeah. But yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'll go with Pies on the Jackson striker thing. But Charlie, who do you reckon, or who would you put on the wings? Because
I would have gone Mudryk and Moreira, but I know they're both the same side. But I mean, I would have gone with that.
Yeah. Maybe I would too, but I don't know who's better for the other side. I don't even know if
because otherwise you're playing Sterling again. I mean, yeah, he's in good form, but do we need to play him in this game? Because you know what will happen, right?
I don't know, man. I think it's a bit silly to play Sterling. He's 28, man. It's the second oldest player in the squad.
I agree. But then when you're in good form, you want to keep playing, don't you? That's the thing.
Yeah, but not against against Wimbledon.
No, maybe not. Look, for me, I'd go. Me personally, I wouldn't play him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did play. But I'd go Moreira and Mudryk.
Yeah,
I know they're both the same side.
Who would you put on the left?
Probably Moreira.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen the kid play, have I? Other than like a bit of him pre-season, but that was in the middle of the night, and I was on holiday, so I couldn't see it all. So. I couldn't tell you if he can play on the left, but I mean, Price. Who did you pick? Sterling and who else? Mudryk?
Yeah. I had a little bit of a different midfield, but I had Gallagher as a 10, and then Caicedo and Ugochukwu.
Yeah, just essentially Caicedo instead of.
But I think, obviously, the only change maybe is Maatsen pushes up and Colwell plays left back, and then Disasi comes in. That's the other option.
I think honestly, a really strong team starts, and then if we're 3-0 up at halftime, I think then he just changes everyone.
Yeah,
well, that's what happens anyway.
For me personally, I actually think this is far more likely to happen.
It looks more like a cup team, this, doesn't it? I mean, not Enzo, but
if Mudryk can start, this is my predicted 11. I think Poch starts this tomorrow. If Mudryk can start, otherwise just agree. Sterling or Moreira.
If I had a prediction, I think Burstow starts up front. If I had to predict,
do you not think that because Jackson was the first one to be subbed off last game, he would only do that because he has to play the next game too? Otherwise, why would he take Jackson?
I don't know. I think he's been playing at such high intensity, and he played pretty much all our preseason games as well. I think more rest than anything, honestly.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out Burstow starting either. I can see the Jackson thing, even if he played him for
I wouldn't rule it out at all, but
even if he played Burstow on in Premier League games as well, surely he'll start.
But even if you played Jackson for just the first half. He bags a couple of goals and then Burstow plays the second half.
Yeah,
Maybe they agree to play
that's what I mean. Like, start a strong team, finish the game, then bring whoever the hell you want on. You know,
or maybe they pre-agree it before the game that they get a half each. You do get that sort of that can happen.
As long as we don't get Bradford and getting battered or
nil-nil, that's true. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like I say, I still think Maatsen will end up playing on the wing because
I agree. If Maatsen plays wing, then that will be the back four.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have anyone else, do we? So
no.
Which is why you could argue, is it so smart to loan out Cucurella? But, you know, that's a different debate again, I guess. I mean, could it be Chilwell at left back if we play about, like, could it be this?
I mean, certainly possible. Certainly possible.
I guess, and then you could even still take Disasi out and play Colwell.
Because if Chilwell and Enzo don't play, who captains the team?
I don't know.
Because we don't think Silva's going to play either. So who's going to be captain?
Sanchez, probably.
Probably, yeah. Maybe Burstow.
No,
If none of these guys played, would be Gallagher.
Sanchez in the dressing room. Oh, not in the tunnel. Hyping up the team.
Yeah, but that's just every goalie ever. Like Kepa did that
just standing there like, Chilwell's just standing there, our captain, by the way.
Yeah, but Aspie never shouted around there. So like,
and Aspie was not a good captain. I've said this, but I'm going to get slated for that. I know.
yeah. I have honestly no idea. Will it be this? I've got 2 Colwells now. That would be ideal. If we had 2 Colwells, problem solved.
Interesting to see how much we get right.
Yeah, probably none. Sanchez, I'm pretty confident on that.
No, one. I think we got a few right in there. To be honest, I think 3 of the back 4 are definitely right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't think there's that many wrong there. To be fair,
hopefully he remembers Humphrey's name because he was pretty good in pre-season.
Mate, he didn't even know.
He was on the bench last game as well.
Yeah, he didn't know who Malang Sarr was, did he?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I don't think he would though because he's with the other group. So, but I thought he would have remembered the goalie. That's quite funny.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he said the who only to Sarr and not directly to Cummings, but he still seemed a little bit confused as to
didn't know who Cummings was
supposed to be. But yeah, it's a bit weird. But yeah, I personally actually like I say, I don't actually think Madueke is able to start because otherwise, why would he have not come on against Luton of all games? But who knows? Who knows? At the end of the day, we just don't know. At the end of the day, I don't even know if I'll be able to see who plays and how we're playing. You know, you lot could tell me anything you want and I'd have to believe you because I wouldn't know. So, you know, that's fun. That who was legit. Yeah, that who was definitely legit about Malang Sarr. He'd never heard about him in his life. But I guess we finish it off, boys, with a little score prediction. Pys, I'll start with you. What do you reckon?
4-0. I got 4-0.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. All right, you sticking with it, Charlie?
Yeah, I'll stick with it.
Could be anything with the team, you know. Could be 6-0, could be 2-0, I don't know. But I'll go 4.
Could be penalties.
Could be penalties.
You
You never know; they might turn up with a replay.
I want to get home tomorrow night, especially it's going to be late. Like,
oh, mate, could you imagine if it went penalties? At least it goes straight to penalties. There's no extra time fucking about.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
I'll say 5-1.
5-1.
Yeah,
there'll be a lot of fans.
If we concede to Wimbledon, I will not be impressed.
There's a lot of fans. We conceded to Chesterfield.
True.
Mate, we compete to anybody except Luton.
Yeah, mate, because they'll have the whole of the shed lower for away fans as well. They always do that in the cup, don't they, Pice? I swear they do. Open up the whole of the shed lower.
Yeah.
If the opponents take them up, I don't know how many fans Wimbledon have.
Like, they'll take it up. It's Wimbledon's not far at all from Stamford.
No, I know that, but you know, I don't know how many people they have at their normal.
This will be their biggest game in years. They'll definitely. I reckon they'll take the lot.
Yeah, no, I agree. Couple of predictions in the chat: 6-0, 1-0, 2-0, 0-0. Wimbledon win on pens. Love that.
Could you imagine that?
Well, that's the thing. If it goes pens, then it's almost like it's always written in the stars for the.
Especially now that we don't have Kepa, we will lose every penalty shootout now. Brilliant.
That's one thing Kepa was good at.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Vic says 3-0 Burstow hat trick. That'd be fun, I guess. Plymouth Argyle are beating Palace. Also, Spurs are losing to Fulham, which is quite funny. It's kind of a tough draw for them. Like for both of them.
Fulham away is a tough one in the cup.
Yeah, I mean, to get a Prem opponent full stop is difficult.
Particularly in round 2.
Yeah,
I was so convinced we was going to get Spurs. Like the way none of it was drawn out, and then we just got fucking Wimbledon.
It's a bit of a mistake, isn't it? Yeah, it's a bit of a mistake. But yeah, 2 4-0s, 1 5-1. Let's hope. Well, really, any of us are right. I think we'll be buzzing with all of those results. I still hope there'll be some sort of stream, so I'll be able to watch the game. I'm not 100% sure, ladies and gentlemen, what I will do tomorrow night if I can't watch the game. Will I stream after? Will I just stream the day after and we talk about it after we've maybe been able to see some extended highlights or not? I don't know. The only thing we do know is that we still don't have a sponsor because people keep asking about it. Is there any news and chat sponsor or away and third kit? No, I mean, I don't know what you guys want with your away kit. Like, just we don't even have a sponsor yet.
Just release the away kit. Just get on with it.
The away kit is black with blue. It's essentially the same as the home kit anyway in terms of color scheme. So, like, we don't need this away kit. Like, every game that we play in the away kit we can also just use the home kit for. So
yeah, I mean, we don't actually. I mean, realistically, we don't need the away kit. I mean, when's I don't know. I can't remember all the fixtures, but when's the chance? When do we play a team that plays at home in blue? Like,
yeah, Everton away, literally the only game.
Everton away, Brighton away.
Even Brighton, because do they have white or blue trousers? No, they have blue trousers. Okay, fair enough. So Brighton away. Okay,
Brighton away, Everton away.
Because Leicester got relegated.
Yeah.
So then, because against City, their blue is so light that we just play the home kit.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we do normally wear the away kit at Bournemouth. I know we don't need to, but we do tend to wear it.
Obviously, we will wear the
Why is that, by the way? You're right. That's so weird.
Sorry?
Why would it? We do. Yeah, it's so weird.
I don't know if it's a similar thing with the third kit where you contractually you have to wear it a set amount of times.
The third kit, honestly, is the most pointless thing, and they're always the nicest kits as well.
Yeah,
they're always the ones you want to see.
I mean, it depends on the color schemes, right? Because some seasons the away kit is pointless because you use the third kit way more. So it kind of depends on the colors of both of them.
Yeah,
I guess. But so maybe this season that hits the away kit because it's black, and therefore it is a more neutral color. But yeah, who knows? But yeah, like I say, I have no idea what we're going to do tomorrow. So maybe we'll be streaming after the game tomorrow. Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please be sure to check out my 2 wonderful guests down in the description below. Charlie's channel, of course, Blue Brother CFC is linked down below. As well as, of course, Pys' website, londonsfirst.com, and his Twitter, or X, as we nowadays should say. It's so weird, like when you read like news articles, and then they say like, as so-and-so reported on X, in brackets, formerly Twitter. I'm like, why did he have to change the flipping name? It's ridiculous. Why? X. What is this? It's like some porn website. Ridiculous. Anyway, enough of this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, and I haven't told you once today, I'm poor from me. Subscribe if you haven't already. That'd be massively appreciated. Hit that like button if you haven't already on your way out. Just one click of a button that doesn't go to any money or any time. We're at nearly 70 likes, to be fair, so you can get to 100 on your way out. Just one click of a button that doesn't go to any money or any time. And really appreciate it because it helps me out spreading these streams and the channel out to more people. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards. Let's hope I can see the game tomorrow, and we'll see you next time.